Depression, the master of distortion. Depression is not only an emotional struggle, it's also a master of distortion. One of its most destructive tricks is convincing you that your sadness is your fault. This self-blame doesn't just intensify the pain, it traps you in a downward spiral that becomes harder to escape the longer it continues. Understanding why your brain does this and how to reframe your thinking is the first step toward breaking free. Why depression makes you blame yourself. Your brain is a meaning-making machine. It constantly takes separate bits of information and tries to connect them, even when there's no real link. Just like you might invent a story to explain why the fork is the father of the spoon, your mind creates explanations for why you feel low. When you're depressed, the explanation often becomes, I feel bad, I must have caused it. This narrative can form for several reasons. Learned family patterns. If your parents dismissed or punished your emotions, you may have internalized the idea that feelings are bad and should be suppressed. Statements like stop crying, you're fine, can train a child to believe sadness is a personal flaw. Cultural and social pressures. Many cultures glorify willpower and snapping out of it. You may have heard phrases like, just be grateful, or other people have it worse. Instead of helping, these messages turn into more ammunition for self-criticism, comparisons with others. Seeing others who appear to be happy and handling life better can fuel the belief that you're failing, ignoring the fact that everyone has different circumstances and internal struggles. Self-protection through control. Blaming yourself can feel safer than facing the reality that some things are outside your control. If you are the problem, at least you can fix yourself. But if the cause is external and unpredictable, that can feel terrifying. Avoiding anger at others. Sometimes blaming yourself shields you from the discomfort of blaming someone you depend on or love. Instead of confronting them, you turn the anger inward. How self-blame becomes a trap. Self-blame may feel like the honest or responsible thing to do, but it quickly becomes a mental prison. It works like this. You feel depressed. You blame yourself for feeling depressed. This blame deepens the depression. You punish yourself further, believing you deserve to feel bad. Over time, even feeling slightly better can trigger guilt, as if you're not worthy of relief. This leads to self-sabotage, ensuring you remain in the depressive state you've grown used to. The neuroscience behind self-blame. Brain imaging studies show that people with depression have fewer physical connections between regions that regulate self-blame and those that assess reality objectively. This wiring gap means a single mistake feels like total failure. You overgeneralize. If one thing is your fault, everything must be your fault. Interestingly, the blame centers light up only when you make a perceived mistake, not when others do. The hopeful news? The brain is highly rewritable, especially in this area. With the right approaches, you can retrain your brain to respond differently to sadness, disappointment, and mistakes. Why blame feels useful? Strangely, self-blame can have short-term psychological payoffs. It gives a sense of control. If it's my fault, I can change it. It justifies avoiding risk or effort. I'm broken, so I can't. It can even draw sympathy from others. But these are fleeting comforts that fuel long-term damage. Shifting from self-blame to self-compassion. You can't defeat depression by turning against yourself. Instead, you need to create space between you and your thoughts. Challenge distortions and take actions that build emotional strength. Here's how. 1. Widen your perspective. Depression narrows your focus, hiding alternative explanations. Ask, what other factors could be contributing to how I feel? Is stress, illness, loss, trauma, lack of support, brain? Chemistry. Would a neutral observer blame me entirely? 2. Use self-compassion language. Replace judgment with description. Instead of I'm weak, try I'm having a hard time right now. Instead of I'm broken, try I'm working through something difficult. 3. Practice cognitive diffusion. This technique separates you from your thoughts. Say, I'm having the thought that I'm weak for being depressed. Or even, thank you, brain, for that thought, and move on. The goal is not to argue with your brain, but to stop letting it dictate reality. 4. Ask, is this thought helpful? Depression distorts truth. Instead of asking if a thought is true, ask, does this thought help me take healthy action? Does it make me feel stronger or weaker? 5. Take one small positive action. Action breaks the self-blame cycle. It could be tidying a small space, going for a short walk, calling a friend. Even small victories create momentum. 6. Seek support. Therapy, support groups, and trusted friends can help you see through the self-blaming lens and offer tools you can't always generate alone. The bottom line: self-blame feels logical when you're depressed, but it's one of depression's most dangerous lies. It narrows your perspective, fuels guilt, and blocks healing. Breaking free starts with recognizing that thoughts are not facts. By creating distance from unhelpful self-criticism, widening your perspective, and taking small, consistent actions, you can rewire your brain toward resilience and self-compassion. You cannot drive out darkness with darkness. Only light can do that. Martin Luther King Jr. You cannot drive out depression with blame. Only compassion, action, and perspective can.